Alright, when this thing's actually running, this is how much more efficient this picker is than what my old one was. I don't know if you can see, but up here on this end, we've got 3 modules waiting to be picked up. We got one there on the back. Now each module holds about, I don't know, between 3.5 to 4 bales of cotton, depending on turnout and some other factors. Now my old basket picker, a full basket would hold somewhere around 4 to 4.5 bales. Now I've been able to pick this entire 14-acre bottom completely non-stop, haven't had to stop once. Now if I was in my old basket picker, waiting on stationary module builders and bowl buggy to come get the cotton, we would not be close to done with this bottom, because you see all those modules that's waiting to be picked up. I would have had to stop picking and wait for the bowl buggy to get here so I could dump. And we've got a pretty long farm here. When we get on the other side of these trees, I can show you. You can see Kelly right there. I mean, hurrying, carrying modules off as quickly as she can. But she's got to carry them all the way up there by the road, which is where we would be building the stationary modules. And right now, all she's had to do is just grab these modules, carry them up to the front and drop them off. Not having to actually dump in a module builder and wait for it to pack the cotton and dump some more. I guarantee you, I'm getting this bottom done probably about twice as fast as what I could with my old picker. And then we've got another 20-acre field on the other side of these trees that would take even longer to get, because it's even farther to haul the cotton. So when this thing's running, when we got all the bugs worked out, this is a dream machine on cotton efficiency. It doesn't ever have to stop whatsoever. And I got to give a compliment to Kelly. She's gotten really good and efficient at picking those modules up. You think it's easy, but it's not. It's not as easy as it looks. It's not as simple as like spearing a bale of hay or anything. You got to get lined up. You got to be real careful about squeezing it in. You can't be off center too much, and then especially backing it up and putting it in the module stack, kind of hard to see behind you. You got to get them lined up just right. And she'd really gotten the hang of working that thing and hauling these modules off. I didn't think it was that late. It's already getting dark. Look at the clock. It's not even 5 o'clock yet, and the sun's going down. I remember time changed last night. All I know is this cotton picker and my cotton equipment right now. I forgot all about the time change. Used to as a kid, well, I loved it when when time changed. It got dark earlier. I mean, I got to run longer with the lights on and everything. As an adult, not so much. Hopefully we don't have a dew set in earlier, because I want to keep on running for a while. I know at least when we get this farm done, that'll be 60 acres. If I can get moved across the road, get a spot cut out for modules, be that much better. I know my father-in-law is probably grateful for the sun going down early, because that 4440 ain't got no AC right now. I got a bad leak on the somewhere on the system that I can't find. It won't hold any pressure whatsoever. So he's running without an alternator and running without AC right now. You couldn't do that on a modern tractor running without an alternator, but thank God we still got an older tractor that, as long as it's got fuel and air, it'll run. Hopefully tomorrow morning I'll be able to pick up another alternator for that tractor at Napa. Can't do anything about the AC until we have a rainy day and I have a chance to track down the leak on it. I suspect it's probably the seal on the compressor, because I couldn't hear a Freon hissing out of an obvious place on it. So right now AC is just a nicety, though it's not a necessity. Right now we're only worried about the necessities until this cotton crop comes out. Well, we were running good until that happened. Apparently there was a mound of dirt back there, and I hit it going 5 miles an hour, and it caved in. It caved in the bottom of that door there. I don't know if I can get it out and halfway bend it back into shape or not. These doors take a pretty good beating, especially the one on the outside over there. I've never seen one in the middle get dinged up like that. See if we can yank it out and straighten it up a little bit. Woo! Get in there good. Oh, you can see right there where it got bent in, and the spindles caught it as going around, jammed it up tight. All right, put it back on and see if we can kind of bend it back. At least where it'll shut a little bit. A vice sure would be handy, but it's all the way up the service truck. Well, it'll latch. Maybe I'll make it the rest of the night. I can take it off back to the shop and straighten it back out up good enough. Well guys, this wraps up a heck of a day. By far the best day we have had picking cotton yet. We just cleaned up a little cotton here in the bottom of the terrace, but we just got this farm done. That's 60 acres we got picked today. I don't know how many rolls I've been through. Well, I've been through almost 2 rolls of wrap. But man, it feels good. I mean, heck, I think I've only had to get off this picker like 3 times to unplug a unit. I mean, even that's got to be a record for fewest times in a day. We've only had a couple minor hiccups with the picker. My metering roll sensor went out, started going haywire, and I had to unplug it. Otherwise, it wasn't letting the baler work. But I could verify in the camera that they actually were working. Well, I'll replace that in the morning. And then, of course, the mishap with the door down there, no big deal. Take that off, straighten it out tonight. But it's about 9 o'clock. I wish I could say I'm about to go home, take a shower, and eat, but unfortunately, that's not the case. I believe we're up there. I got a little bit of work to do back at the shop.
It's now 9 o'clock at night. I have moved too many bales over this entire farm. This farm literally has beat me to death, and I'm glad to be done with it, only to go across the street to get beat up some more. So now I have to go home, do laundry, make lunches for tomorrow, and it is 9 o'clock, and I have to get a kid to school, and then do test plots in the morning where I have to weigh everything. So even though it's 9 o'clock and people go home, I still have at least an hour and a half worth of work at home. So guess we're doing it again tomorrow.
There goes Kelly hauling the last module in. I told her to go home early, but she decided to stick out here till we got done. That's a hard worker right there. You can't beat her. All right, y'all, please disregard the state of my shop. Everything is a disaster right now, messy. We just, it's the way it looks during harvest. We'll get it cleaned up after harvest. But anyway, earlier today, I created more work for myself. We were loading wrap onto the picker, and this arm right here is what goes on the handler to pick the wrap up and put it up into the scissor lift. And anyway, got done loading wrap and went to go put it in transport mode and forgot that I left these things in their position, did not take them out. And anyway, you can see got a pretty good bend to it. This other one right here is kind of mangled more up here, not so much down here. I've already halfway gotten this part straightened out. But as if I ain't got enough work to do, I've got to create my own work. It's a problem, especially when you get tired and in a hurry and stuff. And that's what I'm working on tonight. We're going to try and get these straightened up because we're going to load more wrap and picker. And I hate to know how much those things cost from John Deere, so I'm going to do my best to straighten them up. But anyway, get this wrapped up. See you in the morning. All right, guys, time to quit playing around, time to get serious. We got some ground we need to cover. We got 185 acres of cotton left. Today's Monday, rain's supposed to move in Thursday morning, like a 70% chance. We got to be done by then. If everything holds together, should be pretty easily possible. If everything doesn't hold together, I don't know. I know we're getting a late start this morning because we've been working on stuff. I worked on stuff till like midnight last night, the 4440, you know, my screw up, getting the picker, serviced for this morning. You know, this morning working on the 4440 again. In addition, the alternator had to replace the fan belts. For those of y'all that worked on that series tractor, y'all know how much of a booger that front hydraulic coupler can be to take off to get the fan belts on. Worked on the AC, trying to get it fixed. What's going on with it is it ain't making no sense whatsoever. Not cooling. Try putting a Freon in, and it just sucks the Freon down. It's the low side is pulling an actual vacuum on there, which I've never seen before. Doesn't matter how much Freon put in there, the high side never gets above 100. So thought we had a massive leak. I tried pressurizing it to 150 psi with air last night. Could not hear any leaks whatsoever. It mostly held pressure overnight. It only lost like 10 psi, which might have been there at the fittings. Pulled a vacuum on it this morning, held a solid vacuum for 45 minutes. Tried putting more Freon in and doing the exact same thing. I put in 4 total cans of Freon. It's still pulling the vacuum on the low side, not getting over 100 psi on the high side. I mean, the Freon's got to be going somewhere, but to hold 150 psi overnight, but not be able to hold Freon, and I don't know where it's coming from. You know, I'm trying to find some obvious leaks, you know, when I'm putting it in there, but with the tractor running, you can't hear any hissing noises or anything. I don't know. We're just gonna have to run it without AC, even though it is pretty dang warm, especially for being November. We're just gonna, whoever's driving that tractor is gonna have to suffer through it, unfortunately. Leave the windows open. We had a sensor replaced on this picker on my metering rolls, and now that's monitoring just fine. So as far as I know, everything on this thing is A-OK for now. We just need it to remain A-OK. I ain't gonna lie, my tail dragging today. Too many late nights, two midnights in a row. I ain't as young as I used to be, can't do what I used to do. It looks like we're having another relatively good day. We haven't gone over a ton of acres. Well, we've done about 23 acres, so, you know, because we got a late start, and kind of on this field got a lot of inrows and kind of rough ground. It ain't picking as fast as that last farm, but we haven't had any problems with a picker. We just changed another roll of wrap on there. I'm definitely seeing a trend though. You know, we started off on our very first farm. I mean, fantastic yields, probably the best I've ever had. Then we got in our first replanted, and yields were surprisingly good. But now we're into the latest replanted cotton that we had, and I mean, yields are still good, but they've definitely fallen off some. You know, I had 3 different replanting days. I think they're, you know, each one was like 2 days later than the one before. And we're definitely seeing what the effects of just a couple days difference in growing season can make. Really not a whole lot of difference in the ground, no difference in rainfall. The only difference is just a few more days of growing weather. That's why it is absolutely crucial that we get our cotton planted on time. and don't have to replant. That's why I was so upset when we had to replant this year. That's why I've been so upset in years past when we had cool, wet weather in May that really slowed the cotton down. You know, anything that slows cotton down during the growing season, we've got very little leeway on making an excellent crop just because of our short growing season compared to, you know, areas farther south. I mean, we're still making a heck of a yield for this ground in this year, better than what I would have guessed really late May planted cotton would have done. But if we hadn't had to replant it, if the first planting had come up, man, I'd be having to go get more extra wrap probably right about now. But here in a couple days, there's going to be another real interesting test. When we get to our last farm of cotton, I had 110 acres that we didn't replant. We thought we had an adequate enough stand, but the way it grew all summer long, it was just kind of behind because it seemed like it lost all of its vigor and it was just really slow about developing. It's going to be kind of curious to see what the yield is on that compared to my first cotton I didn't have to replant, and then compared to my replanted cotton, because I was of the opinion this summer that all of this cotton right here that we replanted, it caught up and passed that last field. So we'll see what the yield is.
It's fun when you gotta go across the stalks the wrong way. You just gotta creep. I don't know what number I'm on. I think 8, 12, 13. This is number 14 for this farm. It is Monday, November 6th. Yeah, it's Monday, November 6th. And we're finally getting some acres knocked out. Update on Carter. I finally got him an appointment at Vanderbilt Children's, and we're going Wednesday afternoon. Wednesday also happens to be Matt's birthday, so I'm hoping we're almost done with cotton and that we get some good news from the doctor. It was the earliest appointment they could get without us having to drive 2 hours to Memphis or 2.5 hours to Nashville. Vanderbilt Children's has an outpatient clinic here in Jackson. The doctor that he's seeing has been highly recommended by friends, and a lot of people have seen him, so we're gonna get our fingers crossed that they find out why Carter's having all these cardiac episodes and get a plan in place. So it's kind of scary. He's getting really worried because it's now happening frequently every day that he does anything cardio. So it's just scary, but we have an appointment, so that's a blessing. Meanwhile, it's also 82 degrees on November 6th, because when you live in the South in the fall, it can be 22 or 82. Kind of wish I was outside. Oh, I hate it. I hate it. I want to be outside just sitting. It's breezy, it's beautiful. But, you know, the more we get done, the closer I can be to being at the house. So my back is killing me. Backing all this up, man, this ain't easy.
Hey, Matt.
Go ahead.
Nate tells me that the little cornfield across the street from the gate on Ashford, where we had corn, said that he saw a brand new gray Toyota Tacoma doing donuts in that little bitty field. And so he turned around, came back, went into the entrance, and dude was just sitting there. He said, probably all of 60, 70 years old, and drunk or high out of his mind, got out the truck and tried to say, hey, what's going on, man, what's going on? And they said, what are you doing in this field? This is, like, my dad farms the field, dude, what are you doing? And as soon as he did that, the sheriff rolled in behind Nate, and the sheriff was like, man, we just got a call, there was a guy doing donuts over here, just out of his mind. And so it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and there's a guy drunk doing donuts in our cornfield.
Well, I'm glad at least somebody's having fun today.
How are you, like, obliterated out of his mind at 2 o'clock in the afternoon and claims he got lost? Like, you're in city limits.
He'll probably get in less trouble than I did when I got pulled over for being on the phone while driving. Man, you gotta love people. All right, our second farm of the day done. This officially marks the conclusion of all crops in Crockett County harvesting. All we got left to harvest is all of our cotton in Madison County and a few beans in Madison County, and we'll be done. We got about 140 acres total of cotton in Madison County. I'm gonna stop by the shop, top this thing off with wrap and get moved over there and hopefully make a sizable dent in our next farm. Make for a little easier 2 more days to go. Well, we just had about an hour and a half to 2 hours delay. Put this thing in transport position at the last farm, hop back in here, my monitor was screaming, overheating, engine coolant high. And my temperature gauge was all the way in the red. Been running fine and normal all day. Turned it off, started diagnosing everything. No radiator boots was blown, which is a common problem on these machines. There was no hot air coming out of the radiator that the fan was blowing through. All that was cool air, but the engine was screaming hot. So figured one of 2 things: water pump out or a stuck thermostat. Anyway, we checked the coolant level. It was low. It wasn't in the recovery tank. Well, I think we put like 1.5 gallons in there, but the thing holds like 12, 13, 14 gallons of coolant, so that wasn't the reason it was overheating. But we topped it off with coolant, let the engine cool down real good, started back up. Just going to try and get to the shop because we're right down the road, and I want to work on it at the shop. But anyway, it never got above 2 bars going down the road, which is where it normally runs at. I don't know. Got back to the shop and checked it out. It was pulling warm air out from the radiator, so the only thing that it could have been was a stuck thermostat. This thing's got 3 freaking thermostats in the thermostat housing. So, but anyway, it's cooling fine now. We're going to try it out. We're going to try and get to the next farm and pick. If it starts overheating, I got plenty of fields I can pull off into, but we ain't got the time to work on it right now if we don't absolutely have to work on it. So, but if it happens to not overheat again, the rest of picking, that's definitely going to be on the winter repair list, is replace all the thermostats. And since we have to drain the coolant to do that, we might just go ahead and pull the water pump off and check it out too. All that stuff is pretty easy to get to, it looks like, so it won't be no problem. Anyway, it's about 9 o'clock, but we got a nice breeze blowing. I'm not wasting this time. We're going to try and get over here and see if we can get a little bit more cotton picked. Oh me, it's about 11 o'clock. I'm gonna call it a day. This thing run cool as a cucumber though, so I'm tickled about that. Maybe she'll last another 2 days. Anyway, I'm gonna get these heads cleaned out and this thing blown off, try and get for an early start tomorrow. That'll take me a good probably hour and a half to do. Anyway guys, we'll bring you back here in the morning.